Pattern, but you ought to talk about the Don Jr. Ivanka thing at some point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could talk about it right now.
Do you have it in front of you?
Yeah, well, I remember the story. And the story came out in ProPublica. Jesse Eisinger, who came on this program to talk about the Chicken Shit Club. I don't know why I'm not swearing today. I mean, it's the Chicken Ship Club, which was about those people in our DA's office, our Attorney General's office, about a culture which says don't go after people with white-collar who are involved in white-collar crime. Well, in 2010, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, they have a specific group that looks at major white-collar crime, started investigating accusations and charges, accusations of fraud against Don Jr. and Ivanka Trump that involved their telling investors, they're telling potential buyers of units in their Soho building, lies to get them to buy the building, the units. It may have been lies about how many other ones were sold, about how much was spent. I'm not exactly sure what the nature of the lies were. And I'm not clear whether or not what information they had, but they were investigating for 2 years. And ProPublica had interviewed people who saw emails where Ivanka, Don Jr., completely admitted that they had lied. And they were trying to convince, like, the real estate broker, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to know about this, et cetera, et cetera. And so 2 years into the investigation, Mark Kasowitz gives a $25,000 campaign contribution to Cyrus Vance Jr., who was the Manhattan District Attorney. It was a division of his office that was investigating. Kasowitz calls up and says, I'd like to come in and have a meeting on this, because apparently at the behest of Donald Sr. So Vance apparently gave back the $25,000 because Kasowitz was coming in for the meeting. And he had a policy: don't take money, from people who are coming in to meet me. So he handed back the money. He heard Kasowitz. According to this piece, Kasowitz brought up no new arguments as to why this investigation should end. Members of the division that had been doing the investigating were not invited to the meeting. 2 months later, Cyrus Vance decides to drop the investigation and end it, with no new information having come in. 3 or 4 months after that, Kasowitz gives Cyrus Vance a $50,000 campaign contribution. 50 grand. And that's the end of it until Cyrus Vance Jr. gets a call from ProPublica and says, oh, I'm going to return that $50,000 because it's not right. Doesn't look good. That's 4 years later, incidentally. And so we have a situation where, this investigation ended, and it's not clear if it was, there were emails that were very explicit. Now we don't see these emails, but it certainly looks pretty bad. It's pretty typical for a lawyer to come in representing a client in this way. That's not the weird part. Everything else is pretty bad. And now there's a story that a similar dynamic took place with Harvey Weinstein. I mean, these are elected officials, these Manhattan DAs. And you usually want to run for something bigger. So, hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos